Donald Trump AQSh prezidenti etib qayta saylangandan so'ng bu davlat borgan sari avtoritar mamlakatga aylanmoqda. Shunday sharoitda Yevropa Ittifoqi dunyodagi eng liberal mintaqa va liberalizmning eng katta homiysi deya olamiz. Yaqindagina Markaziy Osiyo va Yevropa Ittifoqi strategik hamkor mintaqalarga aylandi. Men hozir Yevropa Ittifoqining Uzbekistondagi delegatsiyasi rahbarining rezidensiyasi, ya'ni qarorgohidaman. Bugun bu yerda bizning intervyumiz bo'lib o'tadi va turli mavzularda biz suhbatlashamiz. Savollarimning ro'yxati juda ham uzun. Turli mavzular xususida elchining va Yevropa Ittifoqining rasmiy qarashlari xususida bilib olamiz. Demak, intervyuni tomosha qiling.
For Central Asia in Brussels, from Brussels.
To be a diplomat.
So you're a fortunate person, you get to do what you wanted to do.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador. Very nice to see you.
Good afternoon.
First of all, we would like to accept our interview request, and we would like to congratulate also on your appointment as head of EU delegation in Uzbekistan.
Thank you very much.
And in today's conversation, we will discuss with you about the relations of EU countries with Uzbekistan, especially in Central Asian countries. And let me begin about the last summit in Samarkand. Last summit in Samarkand, European Union and Central Asian countries, was a very high-level event in the history of Central Asian countries. And first of all, we would like to know about your opinion. How priority is Central Asia and especially Uzbekistan for European Union now?
Central Asia for the European Union is a partner of choice. We believe that developing relations with all of the countries of Central Asia individually and with Central Asia as a region is beneficial for the European Union, and we believe also that the European Union can be of support to Central Asia and to the countries of Central Asia. We have common interests in international relations. We believe in the common importance of the United Nations Charter, of the international law, and at the same time we also have common interests as far as developing trade routes are concerned, in terms of developing our commercial relations, and in terms of developing our political relations. I see the possibility of the European Union as a region and Central Asia as a region working closer together in the future as a very real one. And I think that was something that was emphasized by all the leaders in the recent summit in Samarkand as well.
At the summit in Samarkand, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said that relations and cooperation with European Union and Central Asian countries will continue to deepen in 4 areas. Trade routes, important and useful raw materials, green energy, artificial intelligence, and digital connectivity. But I think that cooperation with Europe should not be limited with only these 4 areas. And according to the local Uzbek experts, it's also important for Europe to support ensuring human rights and freedom of speech, media freedom in Uzbekistan, in Central Asia also. So, what other directions does Brussels is planning to support these countries?
Well, in fact, our relationship is already well established. We have 30 years of diplomatic relations between the European Union and Uzbekistan. And we have over these years developed a very multifaceted relationship. So that includes in areas such as education, where Erasmus Plus is a very important and appreciated tool for bringing closer Uzbek scholars and Uzbek students and European scholars and European students. And of course, in the broad range of building a modern society that Uzbekistan is very much interested in doing, and that the European Union is very much interested in supporting Uzbekistan. So in fact, the relationship between the EU and Uzbekistan, and between the EU and all the Central Asian countries, is a very multifaceted one that covers basically all areas, ranging from cooperation in security field to economic relations to the development of the Central Asian societies.
After becoming President Donald Trump in United States is increasingly saying goodbye to liberalism, in my opinion, and European Union is the most liberal region in the world. So does European Union believe that there will be any changes in Uzbekistan and in the region on human rights and freedom of media, freedom of speech?
Well, our deep conviction has always been that rule of law and individual liberties are essential for developing a effective market-based economy, because only if the individual is free and feels that he is protected by the rule of law will he or she be willing to truly explore all avenues and try all the possibilities that also the economy can offer him or her. So in that sense, it's an essential building block to developing a efficient and prosperous society, the rule of law and individual liberties. So it's not about, the European Union wanting this or European Union wanting that. I think in our cooperation, we have made it very clear that we want to support the development of Uzbekistan. We want to help make Uzbekistan a richer and more prosperous society, and we believe there the question of individual liberties, rule of law, is a crucial element. And of course, we have seen a lot of reforms taking place in Uzbekistan. And like also President Mirziyoyev has said, these reforms are not finished. So it is certainly something that the European Union wants to support, continue supporting Uzbekistan in, making Uzbekistan, as I said, a rich, prosperous, and also a free society.
Second administration of Uzbekistan under President Mirziyoyev is choosing to cooperate with more countries of the world, but the pressures also are increasing. President Mirziyoyev until now visited to Europe, for example, to France several times, to Germany, Italy, and Hungary also. And does the European Union believe Tashkent's reforms, trust? What do you think about that?
Well, above all, I don't think it is for us to trust or not to trust. I think it is above all a question for the authorities, for the leadership of Uzbekistan, and for the people of Uzbekistan to believe in the effectiveness of the reforms that have been undertaken. And again, in that sense, I want to refer to President Mirziyoyev, who himself has said that the reforms are not finished. The reforms have to continue. And that is what he believes, and I believe his. Of course, this is very right. There's still a lot of work to be done. A lot of work has been done, but a lot of work still needs to be done. And the European Union is ready and will continue to support Uzbekistan in this.
We know that European Union is second largest economies of the world. And what about the economy of Uzbekistan? How necessary and attractive is economy and market of Uzbekistan for European Union businesses and European Union economy?
Well, there's Uzbekistan itself, which has almost 38 million people.
Yes.
And then there's the region of Central Asia, which has about almost 80 million people. And here I want to again refer to President Mirziyoyev, who said recently in a meeting that it is in Uzbekistan's own interest to ensure the development of Central Asia as a region and to break down barriers between the different Central Asian countries in order for investors to see Central Asia as one market rather than as 5 individual markets. And of course, if Central Asia is seen as one market by an investor, then that makes it even more attractive in terms of wanting to invest here, wanting to build factories here, wanting to sell things here. So I think that is a very right approach to take to break down barriers between the 5 Central Asian countries, even more attractive for investors.
At the summit in Samarkand, European Commission's President, Madame Leyen, talked a lot about trade corridors and trade relations between Central Asia and European Union. And also trade routes is one of the 4 cooperation areas. And are there any plans to cooperate in this area? And if you are able to speak, how are you planning to support, or how are you planning to work on this area, trade routes?
Well, for us, the Trans-Caspian Transport Corridor, which unites Central Asia via the South Caucasus countries with Europe, is a very important corridor. And we are already providing financial support and also technical support to support the development of this corridor. We are working with all the Central Asian countries and also with Uzbekistan individually to build and to support the building of new infrastructure in order to make the road between and the transport time between Central Asia and Europe even shorter. It needs to become quite a bit shorter, but because for a exporter, for a transport company, it is important to get things from one place to the other quite quickly. Right now, still, we have quite a few bottlenecks on the way between countries in terms of customs borders, long checks. We have a question of the Caspian Sea where we still don't have enough ships to take goods across the sea because and that means that goods are held up in ports and have to wait there. We don't have enough capacity on the railroads in the South Caucasus. So there's a lot still to be done. We have already done a lot, and we are investing quite a bit of money. The EU foresees 3 billion euros going towards the development of these transport corridors.
Yes, as double landlocked country, for Uzbekistan, trade corridors are not only important but essential. Next question about the position of Uzbekistan on different conflicts and wars in the world. For example, President of Uzbekistan, Mirziyoyev, also said for several times to resolve problems with diplomacy. So what is the European Union's attitude to views of Uzbekistan on that?
Well, we agree, of course, that any conflict should be resolved with diplomacy. We also agree that that any war in the end ends with diplomatic negotiations. Yes. However, for the European Union, it is also quite clear that there is one aggressor in the case of Ukraine, and that is Russia, and there's one victim, and that is Ukraine. And to be able to achieve a negotiated outcome through diplomacy, which will be fair and just, that means strengthening Ukraine, supporting Ukraine, in order that ultimately the peace that has to come will be such that that Ukraine's interests are protected, and that is what the European Union's position has been. So we agree on the principle that negotiations and diplomacy are the ultimate tool that should be used. At the same time, we think that in the case of the war against Ukraine, it is very clear that we have to make sure that the victim, Ukraine, is not forced into a peace that is neither sustainable nor just.
Yes. In the beginning of our today's conversation, we spoke about strategic partnership of EU and Central Asia countries. And I want to know what will be the position of biggest cooperation countries of the Central Asia to this strategic partnership. For example, position of China, Russia, maybe Turkey, India, and other countries. In your opinion, if you are able to answer.
Well, first of all, we as European Union, we don't aspire to any kind of exclusive relationship. What we do want to achieve with Central Asia and what we are offering is to be the predictable partner that has in mind the interests of our Central Asian friends, and where we want to build a relationship that is a win-win one, where the European Union benefits, but also Central Asia, the Central Asian countries benefit. And in this context, I see it also as a possibility where the European Union's own experience about how to strengthen relations between the individual countries of the EU, how this can be used by the countries of Central Asia as an example of how to build stronger relations between them, because I truly believe that the more the Central Asian countries work together, the more they are stronger in the international arena, the more they can stand up and protect their own interests.
And strong region. Yes. Media environment in Uzbekistan is very controversial, and during the second administration under President Mirziyoyev, the number of media are increased, but we still have a lot of problems which depends on media freedom. So I think that media freedom is necessary to see what's happening in the society. And we often see news about the detention of activists, bloggers, journalists in the country. So what should Uzbekistan to do to ensure freer media?
The important thing for first and foremost is that free media is an essential tool and an essential element of a prosperous society, because the free media will be drawing attention both to successes and also to failures, and will bring that to the attention of decision makers in a way that perhaps not always would be the case if decision makers would only have to rely on reports by officials. So the free media is crucial to make good decisions, for leaders of a country to make good decisions, because the media holds them to account and makes them better, take better decisions. So above all, I think that the message has to be that if this is deemed to be important, has to be that everything that is written is important. Of course, we cannot have firmly convinced that this is an essential element of a strong and prosperous society.
Mr. Ambassador, it's interesting for me. Are you a follower of which media, and where do you read news of Uzbekistan?
I am following very many different media outlets, so I will not mention any one of them, because I will not have a complete list, and then some will say that, well, he's not following that or he's not following that.
Okay, how do they work?
I am actually on the one hand finding that I read a lot of important and good information.
Yeah.
From the various media outlets. The media is a friend. and I think we should take it as a friend. I see the media as being useful to me. I see the media as being a useful source of information and a useful partner.
Saida Mirziyoyeva, daughter and assistant to the president of Uzbekistan, is very effectively and actively working for ensuring media freedom in Uzbekistan. And she has been already specific figure in this policy of Uzbekistan, and her organization foundations are working very good, and they are promoting Uzbek culture from whole of the world. So what's your opinion about her activity?
Well, I've had the possibility to meet with her, and we had a very good discussion also about the rights of women and girls, which I believe she is very passionate about, and which is a very important topic because this is 50% of the population, and promoting them as active players in the economy, active players in politics is important and good for society as a whole. So we had a very good discussion on this with her, and I look forward to working further with her about on this topic and on other topics.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, you are here from the lessons of Uzbekistan also. Yes?
Yes, indeed, I have.
Yeah, did you like it?
I like traveling around Uzbekistan very much, and I have been all the way from Karakalpakstan to Fergana, and meeting different people, seeing different things, and seeing the great variety that also Uzbekistan carries within it. And of course, as someone who loves history, I have been, and all the history that is associated with Uzbekistan. So I'm very happy to be working here.
And what's your attitude about the real life of our region's population?
Well, I find it interesting to see that there is great diversity, but I will not get into a discussion about which plov is the best, because that is far too dangerous a topic to get into.
Republic of Karakalpakstan is northwest part of Uzbekistan, and after the events in the July of 2022, the second administration paid more and specific attention to this republic. Today's Karakalpakstan is also different from the previous one, and there are good indicators that after fighting against poverty and unemployment. So did the European Union also pay special attention to this republic after events in 2022?
Indeed, we have, not only after that, but also in general. We are, for instance, we opened our film festival also in Kun.uz, and I was very happy to be able to visit Kun.uz at the end of last year for this occasion. And we have supported various projects in Karakalpakstan. But I'm also happy that we are able to support, hopefully, a construction or reconstruction of certain roads in Karakalpakstan. So we are there to support the development of the economy, both and of society in Karakalpakstan, and that is an important objective of ours. But of course, we are here for all of Uzbekistan and looking forward to and are engaged with all regions.
And climate change and ecology have become one of the biggest problems, not only Uzbekistan or not only in Central Asia, but in whole of the world. So the second Great Summit is also about the theme of climate change in Samarkand, if you remember. So the climate of our republic, as you know, is very dry. But the greenery and protecting our ecology, nature, I can say that is not a very priority for our people. So, what's your opinion about the policy of Uzbekistan? How the policy, climate policy of Uzbekistan is going on?
Well, I do believe that it is a very important task of ours, whether we live in Uzbekistan or we live in any other country of the world, to protect our environment and our climate. And in a country such as Uzbekistan, where water scarcity is a real issue, that is especially true. And in that sense, I agree with you. I think that there could be more done to preserve water, also by individual citizens, and it depends on also educating individual citizens about the necessity to conserve water, about the necessity to reuse water, and on the importance of protecting our environment, and the and of course in Central Asia, that is one area which we are working on with all the Central Asian countries is about how to make the most out of the scarce water resources that exist, how to preserve water, how to produce energy from other sources than fossil fuels, because those are also, of course, adding to the pollution of the environment. So there's a lot that is being done, of course, also by the Uzbek authorities in terms of more green energy. But I think at the level of the individual citizens, there are things to be learned also from, and I think particularly perhaps from the European Union, about how to conserve our resources and how to protect our resources. And this is not something that simply the national authorities have to do, but it is down to each and every one of us as an individual to preserve water and to produce less waste and to basically generally take care of this precious environment that we have.
Afghanistan is a neighbor of Uzbekistan. Peace Afghanistan is very necessary for the foreign policy of Uzbekistan. And officially, Uzbekistan did not recognize the government of Taliban, but the cooperation and the contacts with this government is going on. What is plans about recognizing or to do a contact with Taliban of European Union? It's also interesting to me.
Well, first of all, the European Union is present in Afghanistan. We have never closed our diplomatic presence in Kabul. And in fact, we are providing over 100 million euros in humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan. So we are very much engaged with Afghanistan. Now, on the political level, we understand that Afghanistan is naturally an important priority for Uzbekistan, and it is also an important priority for all the Central Asian countries. But at the same time, for us as European Union, we are also looking for genuine changes in policy towards particularly women and girls from the de facto authorities in Kabul, because the fact is that women and girls have been completely marginalized in Afghan society after the takeover by the Taliban, and that is something that simply we as EU don't want to see. So we have a very good and very serious dialogue with the Uzbek authorities about Afghanistan, about what needs to be done and what should be done. At the same time, we are also still cautious about the engagement with the de facto authorities in the present circumstances, where we see that fundamental rights of half of the citizens of Afghanistan are being trampled underfoot.
And my last question, you are Estonian diplomat here, and Estonia also, as Uzbekistan, was one part of Soviet Union. And if we compare these two countries, what was the greatest achievement of Uzbekistan and what was the greatest fallibility of this country? And again, what are the differences of these two countries? Then we can conclude our interview.
Well, first of all, as an Estonian, I should emphasize that we never saw ourselves as part of the Soviet Union, but as being occupied by the Soviet Union. After Estonia was independent between the two world wars, after having won over the Soviet Russia and after having signed a peace treaty with Soviet Russia in 1920. It was occupied by the Soviet Union in 1940. We regained our independence in 1991. The differences are many between Uzbekistan and Estonia. We are in very different parts of the world.
Yeah.
After the Russian Revolution, when also here in Uzbekistan there was a desire to re-establish independence from Russian rule. There was no possibility of getting foreign assistance like we had in Estonia in our War of Independence, when we had the British Navy and also volunteers coming from different countries to help us fight the Russians. So this was a very different historical background. I think Uzbekistan has achieved a lot, building on its rich history, and as I said already before, the leadership of President Mirziyoyev in bringing together the countries of Central Asia is really something very significant. This was a region when he came to power in 2016, which was splintered, which was divided, where there were mines on the border, and he has opened these. He has helped open these borders. He has helped broker agreements between neighboring countries, and I think that is a huge achievement.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for today's answer, today's time, and I think that it was very interesting and useful discussion for our auditory also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice to see you.